Hi, I'm Tom Menino, Mayor of Boston. I remember my own kids went off to school and started kindergarten. In a couple of years, my grandchildren will be starting their first day in school. I want to be there. It's an important milestone for our children, an exciting time for the whole family. Dozens of organizations come together to work with me and for the Boston Public Schools to create Countdown to Kindergarten. We want you to have information that you need to choose a school, prepare your child for kindergarten, and get ready to be a partner with us, your child's education. One of the most important things we can do in Boston is to make sure every child has the best education. And together, we will do that. Thank you.
Children grow and learn so much in kindergarten from wonderful Boston teachers and principals. Experience in kindergarten with good teaching and learning prepares young people for success in life. As a parent of 3 and a grandparent of 5, I know that your involvement is one of the most important things for children to be successful. I look forward to your support. I'm Tom Pezant, Superintendent, Boston Public Schools. Welcome to kindergarten.
Hello, my name is Marion Hurd, and I'm here to tell you about getting ready for kindergarten. And I have 2 very special friends with me here today to help. Can you say hello to everybody? Maya, say hello.
Hello.
Thank you. And Sarah, can you say hello?
Me hello.
Excellent. These 2 represent Boston's finest, the young children, our future. As parents, we want you to involve them in all kinds of household activities. As their best and first teachers, we want them to have your attention. Read to them, sing to them, play to them, just like we're doing here today. We want you to know that you're needed in the classroom. Make sure you stay connected with what's going on in their lives. These brains are going to expand. They will become even more curious, and you will be there to help fill in the blanks. And so, I'll ask my friends to join me in saying, kindergarten, here we come. Thank you.
Welcome, parents, grandparents, and guardians. I'm Liz Walker, and joining me today are guests who have a ton of great information for you. So get your paper and pencil ready. But if you miss some information, don't worry. We're going to run this show several times before school starts. Let's get started with Patricia Kinsella, a kindergarten teacher at the Manning School in Jamaica Plain.
That's right.
Hi, Patricia.
Hi.
Did I pronounce that last name
You
correctly?
did, yes.
Thank you. I was worried. And Donna Lashes, who is a Boston Public School parent and a coordinator for the school system parent support services.
Yes.
Well, welcome to both of you. Let's get right to the point. We all know how exciting getting ready for kindergarten can be, but let's talk about how important kindergarten is.
Sure. Kindergarten is the child's first entry into academics, their first entry into school. It's very exciting, and sometimes I think we forget it's so long since we were at kindergarten, but this is a big deal for little children. They might have been at preschool, they might have been at daycare, they might have been at home with their auntie, but now they're going to big kids school. They're going to be exposed to reading, to writing, to math. They'll have art teachers, science teachers. So it's very exciting, and they feel big, and we want kids to come in and be excited and feel that school is just a fabulous, wonderful place to be.
To learn all these things. And they're there for a full day now, 6 hours.
That's right, 6 hours.
When Nick was a little boy, when he was going to kindergarten, we were only there for a few hours in the morning. So tell me now, what's a typical day for a kindergarten student like?
Kids come in the morning. There's breakfast for children who want to have breakfast at school. We might start the day with a circle time where children talk about what they've done the previous day. We'll count the students in the class as a way of working on beginning math skills. There's always reading. Books are brought into every activity possible. So the teacher might begin with a read aloud of a favorite book. Children will work on letters and numbers. And then at different times throughout the day, depending upon the school the child is in, other teachers will come into the classroom where the child might go to other classes. They might have a science class. They might have a music class. They might have a dance class or a theater class, depending upon the school that they go to. In kindergarten, there is time for rest. Usually after lunch, there's a short time where children will have a rest or a nap or a quiet book time, and then more academics in the afternoon. But interwoven with everything is fun, because it is the child's first exposure, and we want them to have a warm and good feeling about school, because this sets the stage for every, I mean, you know, Donna, with your kids, it sets the stage for everything that comes after.
Oh, it sounds like a full day. So how do we get our kids ready, especially in the next few months, for this process? Donna, you have 7 daughters who've gone through the system?
7 of them.
So you're an expert. What's the best thing
My
to
youngest
do?
is in kindergarten right now. So I think it's important that you have a lot of books at home so kids can read and learn how to handle them and open them up. It's also important that you have conversations every day with your kids, because they learn vocabulary from that. And then they'll learn how to speak back with other children and with adults. So it's important that you expose them to that. Also, it's important that you do things around the house with them. The laundry, they can do that. They're learning responsibility. They can also learn through the shapes of the clothes and the sorting of the clothes. And you can play games with them around that. The backyard is a great place for kids to do observation, you know, relation to science. It's really wonderful. You also want them to build up their social skills and their motor skills, so jumping and hopping is good. Social skills, bring them to parks with other kids, take them to a neighbor's house, have other kids around, so that they can learn how to relate with each other, because that's a big thing when kids get to school. Particularly if you're an only child, kids need to have experience with other kids. So it's really important to do a lot of that.
Right.
Yeah, Donna's absolutely right, because a big part of kindergarten is learning how to be in a group, learning how to be with other children, taking turns, knowing how to get in a line and go outside and have recess, but then to come inside again and be ready to sit and listen to a book, to talk with other kids. You know, if you want that block and somebody else wants that block at the same time, how do you work that out? So all of that talking that parents do at home with kids is so important, because it prepares them for all that interaction they're going to have every day at school.
What about the idea of going into this huge building or this tiny building or whatever? How do you get kids familiar with the physical environment?
Well, every school will have some kind of open house before September. So what parents can do is call the school that their child will be attending and find out when that open house will be. And that's a chance for parents to come to the school and children to come to the school, because it is important for children to see what the school will look like.
Also, you can call and set up visits to the schools so that you can go and see what a classroom looks like. And most teachers wouldn't mind a kid sitting in for a day. If it's more than one, they might have difficulty with it. But just to see the environment.
Get used to it. Is lunch provided for the kids?
Yes, lunch is provided in every school, and parents get a form at the beginning of the year.
There's a free and reduced lunch form that parents get. Fill it out, because it also helps schools get additional money to support programs. And they'll get that and get assigned a number that they'll be able to get lunch. If not, parents can also purchase lunch at the school.
Donna, tell us about the after-school programs. How many schools have them?
More than half of our schools have after-school programs, and more will be opening up in September. So you want to check with your school to see if there's an after-school program connected in your school, or if there's one close by that they're connected with. We also have a book from Parents United from Child Care that has all after-school programs that are happening across the city, and they can pick that up at any of the parent information centers.
Okay. How can parents, Patricia, best communicate with you, with the kindergarten teacher?
Sure. Every teacher in the Boston schools sets aside a time weekly to talk with parents. So for instance, for this year, my time is Thursdays 10:15 to 11. But teachers will notify parents at the beginning of the year in writing when their office hours are. Parents send me notes with their kids, and you can even safety pin your note to your kid's jacket in kindergarten, and I'll get it or put it in their lunchbox. I call parents. Parents can call me at school and leave messages. But certainly that office hour is set at the beginning of the year, and that's open all year long.
I must tell you, when I first took Nick to school, to kindergarten, I thought, oh, he's going to have a hard time. He's not going to, how's he going to, you know, be without me? And I took him in, and he just went for it. It was wonderful. He had the best experience. And I went out and sat on the steps and cried. So for you parents, it's usually the parents' adjustment
It's
as much as the
hard.
kids, don't you think?
My boy is 4, and he's going to start in K1. I'm a kindergarten teacher, but it's hard, and you want just the very best, and that's what we want to give kids in the Boston Public Schools, a great entry where they're nurtured, they're cared for, and they're stimulated and challenged.
And I would just encourage parents, it's important that you go that first day with the kids because it is new for them.
Yeah.
And if they haven't been there already, they're afraid.
Yeah.
You know, so it's good that you go with them and talk with them. Another thing is if your kids have nicknames, have them practice their real name because if they come on that day, they're not going to know to use their real name, and the teacher will be looking to find out by their real name who they are. So it's important that you use their real names as well.
Thank you both. Before we meet our next guest, let's hear some health tips for 5-year-olds.
I'm going to kindergarten. Yo voy para kindergarten.
Hello, I'm Dr. Joe Carrillo, Vice President for Community Health Service at Children's Hospital and a pediatrician right here at the South End Community Health Center. Entering kindergarten is an exciting time for children and their parents. At this age, children's minds and bodies are rapidly growing and developing. They are becoming more independent, more coordinated, and learning new things every day. Going to school is something you and your child should be proud of. I want to share with you a few tips to keep your child healthy and safe. Make sure your child gets a physical before school starts and bring a copy of the examination along with the record of their immunizations to the school nurse the first day of school. Don't be shy about talking to your healthcare provider. If you have concerns about your child's health, behaviors, social or emotional development, they are there to help you. Parenting is challenging work, and I always welcome the opportunity to talk about any concerns my patients' parents have about them. Each elementary school has a school nurse assigned to it, and from my personal experience, the school nurses are really great to work with and do a wonderful job taking care of your child. Give them as much information as you can. If your child has a health problem and needs to take medication regularly, call your new school this spring and ask to speak to the school nurse. The school nurse can work with you to develop a plan early on to support your child's health. If you have any questions regarding the health and safety of your child, call the Mayor's Health Line at 534-5050. Staff there can tell you where to get low-cost safety items such as car seats and sports helmets. We are very lucky in Massachusetts in that every child is eligible for health insurance, and the Mayor's Health Line can help you sign up or find a doctor for your child. The Health Line can also direct you to find a dentist. I'll see you for your checkup. Don't forget to bring questions.
Welcome to our second set of guests. Catalina Montez is the principal of the Gardner Elementary School in Alston. Welcome. And Hung Wei Speicher is a parent from downtown Boston with 3 children in the Boston Public Schools, and you also work at the Quincy Upper School. Got all that right?
Yes.
Okay. Let's talk about parental involvement, first of all. What does that mean, especially if I'm a single parent who has to work full-time, or a grandmother, let's say, who's by herself raising 3 children? How can I get involved?
Parents can get involved in many different ways. I think the most important way is to talk to your children and let them know how important school is to you, and it will then become important to them. What I do at home is every day I ask every child, how was your day at school and what happened? I try and ask specific questions so I don't get answers like, okay.
Right.
How was the field trip? How was your lunch? Mm-hmm. Was your best friend in school today? Did you learn a new song? What book did you read? If you give them targeted questions, you get more of a response, and then they begin to talk about it. And they know if you're curious about what went on in their day, that it's important to you. There are some more formalized ways to become involved in school. There are parent councils, which is just a forum for parents to get together and discuss whatever issues they think are relevant. There is the school site council, which is an elected body of parents and teachers. These things meet monthly and they're open to anybody. There are also various committees that a particular school might have to do projects, whether it's to decorate the schoolyard or have a bake sale. You can also volunteer in the classroom if you have time to do it, and you can volunteer to go on, to be a chaperone on field trips. But I think that the most important thing still is to communicate with your kid every day about how their day went at school.
Good advice. Catalina, what should I do as a parent if I'm concerned and I want to go beyond that teacher? What do I do?
I usually direct my parents, if they have a concern with their child's teacher, to talk to the teacher first and try to, find whatever information or clear whatever concern they have. But if they cannot do that, I'd be more than happy to talk to them. I'm the principal. I should address whatever concerns they may have. Sometimes I feel that parents may need somebody else to listen to them. And I always say, if you are not satisfied with my answer, if you have any other concern, you can always call the deputy superintendent's office and request someone, one of the deputy superintendents to talk to them. And that's the best place for them to call, because then they will direct them to the person that is in charge of their area. I always say to my parents, if you have concerns, if you have questions, try to find the answers. It's very important. We want to work with the parents. We need to work together, and it's important that their concerns and their questions are answered. So we really want to address that.
What about transportation? When will families find out about the buses?
In late August, any child that have an opportunity to ride the bus will get a notification in the mail.
Okay.
If the children live more than 1 mile from the school, they have a right to transportation. And anyway, it's optional. It's whether the parents want to, use it or not. They get the notification in the mail. They get the bus number, where the stop is, at what time the pickup is going to be, and then the afternoon bus number and where they're going to be dropped off. If the parents feel that sometimes, for example, parents work and they need the children to go to their grandparents' house or to a babysitter or to an after-school program or whatever, if they feel that they need to transport the child to another place that is not their home, they can always request in the summer an alternative transportation form, and the children will be taken to whatever the parents, decide.
Is it a good idea for kids so young, kindergarten kids, to ride a bus? Is that?
It's funny. They think it's a big to-do.
Huh?
In September when they come in the bus, they're big guys now. They can ride the bus, and mommy and daddy are not in the bus.
Right.
So they're really, I think it's the highlight of the day. But I do worry about one issue. I really would like to address this issue with the parents, and that is that, especially the first few days of a school, they should have like a safety pin with their name and their address and the telephone number, because when they get there, there's so many of them. Right. Like, for example, if they go to a big school and all that, and sometimes the kids, like the kindergarten teacher Patricia was saying before, or I think it was Donna, and she was saying, sometimes they have a nickname, and you ask them their name, and they're giving you the nickname, and sometimes it takes the whole day to find out who they are. So it's very important that they have that. Sometimes the school provide that name tag if they have a conference with the teacher before the school open up. I always advise the parents to try to go to the school with their child in the first few days after the school open up, and the kindergarten classes have not started yet, so the kindergarten teachers have time for them. Right. And sometimes the kindergarten teachers can make that tag for them, but sometimes the parents do it, but it's very important.
Good idea. Do all kids need uniforms?
Well, the uniform is in some schools it's mandatory because they have passed through school-based management. And in other schools it's optional, and some schools don't have uniform. But I think it's a good idea that they call the schools that the child is going to attend and find out whether the schools have uniform or not. Because some of the parents, for example, have said to me in my case, oh, if I only knew that the school have uniform, I could have saved a lot of money in school clothes. Sure. Some parents really make an effort to buy lots and lots of school clothes. And with the uniform, that problem could be solved.
Right, right. Hong Wei, what are some of the other ways that families can get ready for this in the next few months?
I was going to say about the buses, there are some children who are a little nervous and parents. And one thing that I did when my child started school was I just found a fifth grade boy who rode the bus too and asked him to look out for my son. And that makes a child feel less nervous about school, knowing there's somebody that they know in the school. If they know other kids that age, that's also a great thing, that they can talk about school and all get excited about going to school together. I walked my child to the bus stop before school started, just so that they would get used to that walk. And you talk a lot about it. You can count down on the calendar, but if everybody in the world that you know is talking to your child and saying, isn't it great that you're going to kindergarten, that also makes them feel really good about going to school.
Right. If you are not sending your child to her or his assigned school, what should you do?
Well, it is very, very important that if for some reason you have decided during the summer that you're not going to send the child to school, that you let the school know, because there are children in waiting lists, and it's important to free the seat, for another child. There is also something that I want to tell the parents, and that is that if the school open up, for example, when the kindergarten classes start, which is the second Monday after the school open, and if they have decided, if they haven't shown up within 8 days, automatically the child will lose the seat in the school. And sometimes the parents show up like 20 days after and all that, and they have lost the seat. So it's very, very important that parents realize that they do have to send the child as soon as possible. When the school open up, we are waiting for the children right there. And if they don't want to send the children to school, or they have move out of the city or something, to please let the school know.
And if they need special services, I would imagine that you really need to call this summer if your kid needs special services.
If a parent think that there may be a possibility that their child is in a special education student, if they call the school and try and find out where to go about it, is very important, and we will appreciate to start the process as soon as possible. So if they let the school know, the school will advise them on how to fill in the paperwork and go about it.
Okay.
And that's true also for bilingual children. If you're in a household that doesn't have English as your native language, you can call the school, and they can will usually have somebody who can help you in your language and give you advice about bilingual education.
Okay, and don't forget about the big Children's Museum Countdown Party that's coming up. I want to thank you both. Before we close today, two of our Countdown to Kindergarten partners have some reminders about some great activities in our community.
אני הולך לגן חווה.
All around Boston, you'll find great activities for the whole family that are free or inexpensive. Try them out. Expose your child to letters and numbers and books, and give them a chance to practice those social skills they'll need in school. Hi, I'm Lou Casagrande, president of the Boston Children's Museum.
And I'm Sharon Scott Chandler, director of ABCD's Child Care Choices of Boston.
Here at the Boston Children's Museum, your child can join a play, learn about science with golf balls at our Raceways and Bubbles exhibit, or they can practice sharing and taking turns in our miniature supermarket. They'll love this place, and so will you. These books describe lots of other Boston activities for young children. You can pick them up free at the Children's Room in the branch library in your neighborhood. And while you're there at the library, try out wonderful library programs such as story hours and puppet shows, and of course, borrow those books.
And many of you families may be looking for after-school programs when school starts in the fall, or even summer camps this summer. For information, call ABCD Child Care Choices of Boston's Information and Referral Hotline at 542-KIDS. That's 542-5437 for more information.
And for general information about youth programs in Boston, including activities I've mentioned and Sharon's been talking about, you can even try the city's new website, bostonyouthzone.com. I'm looking forward to seeing you at the museum very soon, or at the end of the summer when we hold our annual kindergarten celebration. Don't miss it.
Piano, star, improvisation.
Finally, with all this great information you've heard today, we should review 3 things you don't want to forget. First, expose your child to books, maybe even a book a day. It's important that he knows that reading is important. Also, make sure your child is around other kids in the community so she can get used to them. And I always tell Nick, learning is exciting, it's fun, and it's important too. Second, I think you should stay involved in your child's education. That's what everybody said here today. You've heard lots of ways to do it, but I'm sure you can figure out what's best for you and your child. And third, don't ever be afraid or shy to ask questions, to get more information. That's what they're there for. The general Boston Public School number is 635-9000. That's 635-9000. And if you're calling for help in a language other than English, you can call 635-6547. Now remember, if you miss something, don't worry. This program is going to run several more times before school starts. And incidentally, kindergarten starts the second Monday in September. So good luck. Have a wonderful time with your child this year. And let's end it by hearing from the kids, the teachers, and the parents themselves.
The funders for Countdown to Kindergarten Boston are the Boston Public Schools, the City of Boston, the Massachusetts Department of Education, United Way of Mass Bay, Children's Hospital Boston, the Children's Museum, ABCD Head Start, and Child Care Choices of Boston. Our national sponsor is Scholastic Incorporated.